Okay, we're live.
All right. I think I see the instance.
Yeah, there it goes. I'm just trying to grab the link so I can tweet it out. And got it. We'll put it in Telegram too?
Yes, I'm going to share this in Telegram now. In the Cardano effect.
Okay.
Okay.
Up in official. Yay.
Good morning, William. Good morning, Sean. How is everyone doing this morning? Mr. JTX, Senyo from Ghana, how are you doing? Jacob, Stefan, Ross.
Hey,
good morning, everyone. Good morning. We're going to start momentarily.
A lot of stuff to cover.
Yep.
Lots happening with Cardano and lots of stuff going on past couple of weeks.
Yes. So, Rick,
We're good?
we're good? Okay.
We're good?
Welcome, everyone, to the Cardano Effect Podcast, episode 86. The purpose of this podcast is to take high-level developer information and projects that are occurring within the Cardano space and break them down into bite-sized, consumable pieces of information for everyday use. I'm your host, Philippe, and let's get this podcast started. The hosts of the Cardano Effect are Rick and myself, and this is our weekly live stream series. So if you're not familiar with this series, basically, we do a live interaction with the YouTube audience, all the Cardano community fans, and other blockchain fans as well. You can interact with us in the YouTube comment section. We cover the top news, events, stories that happened within Cardano for the past week or so. And we really have a good time interacting with everyone and trying to feel what everyone is thinking about the project. So we hope that we are your favorite crypto podcast during this quarantine period. This is the Quarantine in Crypto edition, and we are just here to have a good time on a Saturday morning. So without further ado, none of what we say on this podcast is financial advice. Remember, you are your best financial advisor. And if you don't think you are, you need to find someone who's qualified to do so. Rick, how are you doing this Saturday morning? What's going on? What's happening?
Hey, I'm doing great, Philippe. Thanks for asking. It's going very well, and we have a lot of subjects to cover today. We're going to get right into them. We had often done the Reddit Top 10 before, but there's so much other stuff to go into. It hasn't all percolated up to the Reddit Top 10 yet. I would like to start off with a shout out to the Cardano Foundation for sponsoring this podcast. Thank you very much, Cardano Foundation. We appreciate your support and keeping the podcast going. And a reminder to new viewers that this podcast is available on all major audio streaming platforms. All right. Now, with that said, Philippe has a little present for us, a little present to show us. What do you got there, Philippe?
Yeah, so, this has been a very stressful period for everyone being quarantined and everything. So I got a new trainer, and this trainer is helping me lift these papers right here. And what are these papers right here? This is the stack of white papers that Cardano has released. And on the top, I don't know if you can see it clearly, it's very heavy. That's why I got the personal trainer. Let's see.
Massive.
Yes, the Hydra paper. So it's very massive. It's massive. So this is what the Cardano project has been working on. As you can see, it's probably half the size of my head, and my head is pretty large. So it's growing. It is growing. And it drops with a thud. And all these are printed double-sided, and I've had these since the IOHK Summit. So for everyone that's saying that I'm wasting paper, I've actually been looking through these, and it's printed double-sided. So don't even worry about that. So think it would be, without it being double-sided, it would be the size of my head. And that's all the research and the papers that have been released by the IOHK team. And you can check it out on the IOHK website. So yeah, Rick, what do you think about that?
That is a product. That is a product. So to all the naysayers out there who say, oh, Cardano's just a wallet, guess what? Those papers are a gift to the world. They are on ePrint. They are not copyright protected. They'll be there for decades and centuries. People will be able to look back at those papers and say, wow, they did it. They figured it out. And those are available for anyone to look at. So please take a look at those papers. If you're starting up a new crypto project or you're in a proof of work project trying to figure out how to go proof of stake, those papers are there for you. That was a gift to the world. Thank you very much. All of the developers and researchers who put all the effort into that product, okay? A very important product. The product that most crypto projects should have started with in the first place, and they wouldn't be having the problems they're having now, right?
Correct.
It's only fair to say, and this is why people like Cardano, or that's why the people who are in Cardano have confidence in the project, because the papers were done first. How should this be done, right?
Correct.
That's how you design things. You start off figuring out what you should make and then make it. This code fast and break things, I don't know if I want to put my money in that. I don't know. Not so sure. Satoshi did a lot of work, and that team did a lot of work before Bitcoin was released.
Yes.
They did release one small white paper, but it was going on for decades on how a cryptocurrency should work. So there was a lot of work put in there.
Yes, yes. And the Bitcoin white paper is nowhere near the length of the research that the Cardano team has done. No knock on Bitcoin whatsoever. But if you're building a superior product, you better have superior documentation as well. I don't want the manual for my vehicle only being 9 or 10 pages long. It better be substantial and explain every single part and mechanism and how they interact with each other. That's how you feel ultimately secure.
Yeah, and there's probably over 300 people working on this project between IOHK, Emurgo, and the Cardano Foundation. And how else are you going to get 300 people on the same page working the same, in the same general ideas, unless you have good documentation to back it up? So
correct.
Yep.
Rick, next order of business, we're going to be talking about scammers. So I'm going to pass that over to you, Rick. You have a PSA, and then we'll talk about scams and scammers and all the issues that you can run into in cryptocurrency and in life in general, to be honest. But what you need to be wary of and what you need to watch out for. Rick?
Yes, exactly. Okay, so we're going to touch on scammers. Now, you got to be really careful. There are a lot of scammers impersonating ambassadors and other prominent members in Cardano, if you're well known, officials, people who are employees of IOHK, Emurgo, Cardano Foundation. The scammers will impersonate them and try to get your private keys. The number one, most important thing, please remind all people new to crypto is never, ever, ever give out your private key. Now, that might sound repetitive, redundant, and duplicative, but the important thing is it must be reiterated. As long as we have more new people coming into crypto, which is a good thing, we will have to keep reminding new people to never, ever, ever give out the private key. Now, I'm going to play a bad guy, okay, Philippe?
Okay.
I'm going to pretend I'm a scammer. What does the scammer do? How do they get you? How do they get that private key? Here's how it works. I'm a scammer. I'm going to monitor Telegram and Twitter, which are open and public, and anybody can make any account, okay? And I'm going to monitor it for people who say stuff like how to stake, how to migrate wallet, how to get rewards. I'm going to look for people who are unknowing or unwitting and they're vulnerable. And I'm going to target that person and I will DM them and say, I can help you. What's the problem? And then they reply. And then my response is, oh, why don't you give me your private key and I will help you fix it. And then the new person or the unwitting person hands over the private key. Boom, they've been scammed. It's just as bad as handing someone your credit card and giving them a PIN. Scams have been going on since the beginning of money, forever. And scams will go on forever. And the best thing we can do to help prevent scams is knowledge and education. So how can you prevent scams? If you think, well, for number one is never ever give out the private key no matter what, no matter what, absolutely. And also look for a name or a badge, like on Telegram, it'll say ambassador or admin or IOHK or CF or Emurgo. It'll say that on their name. Look at the @ of the name. On Twitter, look how old the account was created. Someone just impersonated Charles Hoskinson. Impersonating accounts are always relatively new, most often, not always, but often they're relatively new. And if you see someone who looks like they could be Philippe or Rick or Charles on Twitter, and there's only like 3 followers and the account was created in April of 2020, block them, report them, okay? And that's what you can do. Block, report, block, and report. That's the most important thing you do. And anything else that you can think of. And there's another thing also called fraud. Fraud is where someone plays the victim. This has been going on since the beginning of time, where someone claims to be a victim. And I'll give you an example. Someone claimed that they were ripped off by $10,000 worth of ADA from a user named Rick McCracken. Well, guess what? Sorry, pal, you screwed up. You have to make a mistake in order for that to happen. Now, the problem is people do make false claims. That's called fraud. So if you ever see someone saying, I'll give you an example. Someone says, oh, all my ADA was stolen. Can someone reimburse me? That is also a scam. That is fraud. That's someone trying to get reimbursed. Now, unfortunately, there are real people who do lose real money, and that's very unfortunate. But to take up a collection or donation, it would be supporting fraud. I mean, that's just how it is. So I just want to call it like it is. So I didn't mean to get on a soapbox. It's just ultra clear that we have to help new people understand the importance of protecting the private key. And if anyone ever DMs you, you don't know who they are, block them immediately. No harm, no foul. Especially, how does it start off on Telegram, Philippe?
It says, hello, dear. And once that happens, block them immediately.
Hello, dear, blocked.
Yeah, blocked.
No one calls me and Philippe dear. Nobody. Nobody. If you know us, you would be calling us dear. Hello, dear, block it.
No, that's, yes, agreed. And at the end of the day, we like each and every one of you, but we don't know you personally, so we're not going to be reaching out to you on a personal level. You can reach out to us, but you don't know us either. You know, we don't know each other, so we're not going to be asking you for anything, to tell you the truth. We don't know you individually, person by person. We're not going to be asking you for ADA, not going to be asking you for money or asking you for any sort of private key. We're not going to be sending you messages, to tell you the truth. So if you're getting a message from any public figure that you see within the blockchain space, it's probably a scam.
Yep. And help to do people out and make sure they're aware.
Yes.
And if you see someone saying how to stake, how to collect rewards, help them out in public. And if that's you asking the question, try to keep the conversation as public as possible until you can confirm the identity. And even then, use the help channels, tech support channels, report to admin channels, stuff like that. Okay?
Correct.
So we're trying to protect users. We're trying to protect people new to crypto to minimize scams. But they will be around forever.
Correct. Okay, so we covered the scams topic, and now the first major topic we're going to be covering today is the Daedalus 1.0.0 release. So it's official, everyone. We're going to be hitting mainnet soon. This is the official mainnet wallet that you need to download if you have Daedalus. A few questions that people have had. If you have Yoroi, I'm sure there are going to be updates in the future, especially when we hit mainnet. Yoroi is probably going to have some interface changes and some back-end changes. But right now, there's no changes that need to be made within Yoroi. But Daedalus, we're talking about the mainnet wallet, not the testnet wallet, the mainnet wallet. If you click on that wallet, you should get a prompt-up screen that should be appearing in whatever color you set your Daedalus theme in. And that will tell you to visit the site and look at the instructional videos and the instructional content before downloading the link from the official website. And this is also where places of scams can happen. So make sure that you're either using your mainnet Daedalus wallet to go to that direct link, or you're following them, the IOHK on their official Twitter, and go into the link from that official link. People are going to be sending some fake links, I'm sure, in the near future if it hasn't happened already. So make sure that you are wary and vigilant and you download the correct link. Once you download that link, if you're on the same computer or the same instance that you used in order to create your original mainnet wallet, you'll have the chance to import your new wallet. Import your old wallets into the new wallet. So if you had 10,000 ADA and you are an ADA holder or hodler since 2017, that wallet should migrate over to the new Daedalus. And remember, you're not going to be putting, all you need access to is your seed phrase, and you don't even have to put that in if you're importing it into the new mainnet wallet. If you're using a different computer, then you're going to have to restore that wallet and use your seed phrase. But if it's on the same computer, You're going to just be able to import it with ease. It took me around 2 hours to download it. And the new version of Daedalus, which we're going to be using in Haskell, is a lot quicker. It's a lot more responsive. And this is what we're going to need in order to hit that mainnet and start delegating and start staking. And everyone's going to be included in the staking process. So the ITN is almost officially closed, and we're on to bigger and better things. What was your experience with it, Rick?
Very good. It was extremely good. I did a video on it. I didn't do Daedalus 1.0.0, but I did the flight version that was right before that. But I do want people to be aware of the limitations of Daedalus 1.0.0. You must be on Windows 8.1 or newer for Windows users. Windows 8.0 and older is not supported. Microsoft does not support the older versions either, so it's difficult to support those older versions. For Mac users, it is 10.13.0 and newer versions. I think it's Sierra and newer. Older versions, like older than Mountain Lion, not supported. It's just too hard to support the older operating systems. Best thing to do is to upgrade to the newest operating system anyway, especially for security purposes. That's why there's newer operating systems. So please make sure you update your operating system. When you go to download, scroll down a little bit when you go to download Daedalus, and you'll see which operating systems are supported. That's on the web page. So make sure you read that closely and carefully to make sure you got the right operating system support. Another limitation on Daedalus 1.00 is it doesn't do paper wallets yet. The new paper wallets in the future, when on the Shelley side, will support staking. So I don't know if they will ever put it. So if you do like paper wallets, if you want to make a paper wallet, make sure you use Daedalus 0.15.1, original mainnet wallet, Byron wallet. 15.1, you can make the paper wallets. And then 1.0.0, you cannot yet make them.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yes.
be alert to those limitations.
And once again, Rick reiterated that prior versions of Windows are not acceptable. I spoke with a few people that had Windows 7 and it wasn't working for them. And I think it's good that IOHK is just installing it on the latest and best versions of Windows and Mac OS and making sure that it's up to date. Because what happens is you need to have a special team to create a product to install on Windows 7 or Windows XP, because they need to understand the security vulnerabilities and tinker it slightly in order to meet those parameters. And personally, that's just a waste of money. So if you cannot get access to the latest versions of Windows, consider sending your funds to Yoroi, because it's a web wallet, it's a light wallet, and then use Yoroi. And there's also Yoroi with Ledger. So if getting the Windows 10 is impossible for you, then use a light wallet. But other than that, this thing, Daedalus is going to be a multi-asset tool. We're going to be able to communicate with multiple assets within the interface. We're going to be able to do a lot of different things within the wallet. And the older versions of Windows are just not ready, or they're not capable of handling everything that we're trying to do. So please consider that.
All right. Good info, Philippe. Thanks for putting that out. I'm going to check chat real quick, and we have a few other subjects we're going to hit on.
Okay.
There was a question about what about Mac OS Catalina, just newer versions of Mac OS, newer than .13 and higher on the last digit. For Linux, it lists specific Linux variants that it's been tested on. There's a Ubuntu variant listed on there. So if you're a Linux user, make sure you check the versions it's been tested on, okay? Because Linux has so many variants out there. It's pretty amazing. There's a question from Create the Imaginable. Did they fix the forking issue yet? If you're talking about the ITN, yes. Fixed is a soft word, so it handles forks extremely well. That's probably a good way of answering that. So 0.8.18 on the ITN handles forks very well, resolves them quickly. So the ITN is running amazingly smooth. The adversarial forking is still there. It can still be done. It still occurs, but it's handled more quickly so that you don't have more nodes losing blocks as multiple blockchains are created from the adversarial forking. So that has been helped out pretty good. But the key is we're touching on the Daedalus and the mainnet Daedalus. We also have news in Cardano Foundation and Emurgo. Philippe, we want to move on to that one?
Okay, that sounds good. So the next issue we're going to be talking about, or the next newsworthy event, I'm pulling it up on my browser real quick. We're going to be talking about the FCAS scores, so the Flipside crypto scores. So Flipside Crypto is a company that analyzes blockchain products, and they give you a health score depending on different categories that are prevalent within your project. So they explore various different parameters of the project, whether that be the complexity of the code, the community support. There are like 5 or 6 categories. Let me pull it up real quick. I don't know why my browser just closed.
Do you want me to screen share it, or you got it?
Yeah, can you screen share it?
Yeah, I'll pop it up.
So anyway, one thing that I noticed is that for the scores, I mean, I thought it was a very fair score for Cardano. Cardano received an A, and there is a grading scale. I believe S is the top grade that you can receive for your project, which is a superb. And then the rest are A, B, C, and F. And as you can see, for code improvement, community involvement, developer behavior, liquidity, and code contributions, we received an S. And for market maturity, network activity, and user activity, we received an A. So if you amalgamate all those different features and you find the mean, you get the FCAS score, which is the Flipside crypto score. So this is just a proprietary name that they use to grade crypto projects. You'll get an 868, and that gives us an A, which is wonderful because if we ever have investment firms, or if we ever have hedge funds investing in crypto, which I'm sure they are right now, but as more money comes within the market, a lot of these companies, they're not going to be in our Telegram. They're not going to be on crypto Twitter. They're going to be looking and buying reviews, and they're going to be buying these reports from websites like this, these legitimate websites that give a analyzation or critique about the project, and then they're going to decide where to put their money in. The same kind of scores are prevalent within the stock market. You can solicit certain companies and buy products that will tell you, okay, Berkshire Hathaway, this is its growth potential. This is what they're doing in this sector. This is what they're doing in that sector. While it's not exactly code, they grade you on investments. They grade you on liquidity. They grade you on new stocks being issued to shareholders and to owners of that particular company. So it's the same premise. So hedge fund A or hedge fund B that comes in the year 2021, they're going to be looking at FCAS and say, okay, so we need to diversify our hedge fund, or we need to diversify the 401k funds that we're managing, and we need to put it into crypto. So we're going to put 10% into the top project, 5% into the second project, 3% into the next project. When you have a score like an A, best believe that we're going to receive some kind of investment if that ever comes. One thing I would like to note is that there are a couple projects with higher FCAS scores, quite a few. I mean, I think we were number 10 on the FCAS ratings, but Ethereum was number 1 with a score of 942. EOS was number 2 with a score of 925. I tried to explore the health of that project to see what they were basing everything on, but I don't know if I would compare 868 with 925 for EOS, but they're a little bit further than us, I guess, with their market cap and
smart contracts and stuff.
Yes, smart contracts. Yes. XRP, Bitcoin was 891. Chainlink, Ethereum Classic, 0x, Stellar, Monero, and then Cardano is number 10. So Cardano actually jumped up 4 spots. So it used to be number 14 and then jumped up to number 10. But Ethereum is the top project. And I would technically agree with that just because of how much market penetration that they've done, the history of their smart contracts, although we can argue whether or not they're working or not. But as far as just the network effect of what they've done, they're really pushing a lot in the crypto space. Rick, do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I could see Ethereum up there because if you look at the different categories, now Cardano is a juggernaut when it comes to putting out code. Juggernaut. And quality code, but those would be kind of like 2 of these categories possibly. Community involvement is also extremely good. I mean, we got great podcasts, not just this one. There's lots of podcasts in Cardano, and developer behavior, liquidity, all these other activities. So I think in developer behavior and code improvements, Cardano is just knocking it out of the park, and those are labeled as S accordingly. So I mean, I could see Ethereum and EOS and other projects having higher marks in this area, or in as far as market maturity, network activity, user activity. Yeah, they've got products to build upon, so I could see that.
Yes.
Should I take this one down now?
Yes, you can. Yes,
For more
you can.
details, check out the Cardano Foundation's Twitter account at Cardano Stiff Tongue and at Cardano Community, and they have additional details and links over there. And I'm going to put my screen back, and now I can see again. Yay! All right, let me see what my screen's in here.
Let's grab a couple comments, Rick.
Okay.
Okay, we have a question from Nayan Joshi, virtual event. I think it should be happening soon, maybe within the next few months. It's a production that needs to be taken. It's something that needs to be planned. So I know that some planning is going on behind the scenes as we speak. So I don't know. I don't have an exact date for you, but it's more than likely going to happen, and we'll find out maybe sometime during the summer. And hopefully it's the virtual event that announces Shelly Mainnet. That would be epic.
All right. We got another question from Anthony T-Mobile. Can you talk about the importance of K-value and how that affects the decentralization of the system, as well as how it affects the ability for small guys to operate a pool? Right now, the K-value on the ITN is set to 1,000. There is ongoing analysis to see what it should be on the mainnet. It's estimated could be about K equals 1,000. That affects the saturation point. It affects how many pools the protocol prefers. Okay, so K equals 100, optimal number of pools is 100, K equals 1,000, optimal number of pools is 1,000. So it affects how many blocks a pool would make and where the saturation point kicks in.
Correct.
Okay, hopefully that answered your question. Let's see here. What else? FCAS scores. Okay, we touched on that.
Yes.
Someone said my audio's off. Is my audio good now? I read that earlier. Hopefully.
Yes, your audio's good now, I think. I haven't heard that crackling sound. There was a slight crackling sound before.
It's
but
a static discharge if I touch it.
Yeah. Let's see. Nayan Joshi said Ada starts loving Hydra, but will it hail? I'm not sure what the question says, but maybe when is Hydra coming out? I don't know. It's gonna take some time. It'll take some time.
Yeah, trade feeds indicated that Hisoshi said ETH devs will come over to ADA. I have no doubt a lot of devs on ETH will also do Cardano. They won't abandon ETH, okay?
No,
in my opinion. ETH is too popular.
Yeah.
But developers love to develop. That's why they're called developers and not maintainers, okay? Because they like to make things, so they'll migrate over. They'll learn Plutus and Marlowe and all the other widgets they got to learn, because that's what they do. They love to make stuff. So don't worry, they'll show up.
Correct. Yeah, they're going to diversify. It's not like they're going to go all in one platform. It's depending on the user base behind that particular platform. If there are a lot of users using that platform, the developers are going to code, right? Whether it's harder or whether it's more difficult or easier.
Yeah, and not only do we need third-party developers, that would be third-party developers creating businesses and software projects on top of Cardano as smart contracts roll out. But there's also, I mean, think about this, guys. IOHK is hiring. I took some show notes here. IOHK has 14 job openings on their webpage, mostly full-time. One of them contract. They're mostly remote jobs. So IOHK has 14 job openings. Emurgo has 2 job openings listed, full-time located in Jakarta and Tokyo. So for those jobs, check out for IOHK, go to iohk.io, click on careers. For Emurgo, go to emurgo.io, and then click on About Us, and then click on Careers. And for the Cardano Foundation, there's an opening for a technical project manager, and just go to cardanofoundation.org and click on Careers. There's a lot of job openings in an economy that's currently suffering from the recent outbreak of the COVID, and the economic turmoil that followed. They're hiring, and they're designed to work remotely. So there's remote jobs. So check out those websites if you are a software developer There is a lot of coding to do in-house, and if you're a third party and you'd like to run your own business, then check out Cardano as smart contracts start to roll out to write apps on top of Cardano.
Yes, yes. Create the Imaginable said, when should we install the new wallet? Is this the final production version out yet? Is the final production version out yet? You can install it today. The 1.0.0 is ready and it's ready to go. Not saying that we won't have a 1.0.1. We're going to have upgrades over time, but it is ready. The final production for the average investor or the average consumer of the ADA product is ready to go. So you can install it today, right now, if you'd like.
Yes. And keep in mind, Daedalus 1.0.0 runs in parallel with the existing 0.15.1. You don't have to delete 0.15.1. So Daedalus 1.0.0 downloads an entire copy of the blockchain in a slightly different way that the old version did. You can have both in parallel. I mentioned earlier, like with paper wallets. It does not replace 0.15.1.
Yes.
It runs in parallel with it. It does not overwrite it. That's what I mean by it doesn't replace. It doesn't overwrite it.
And people have been asking whether they can delete the old files of Daedalus, all the other Daedalus icons they have on their computer. I would suggest that you wait. IOHK will be releasing some documentation showing how to remove these files and the state directories associated with each of the icons on your home screen. So just leave it on your computer for now. Once you get final instructions from IOHK, then you can go ahead and delete it as they indicate, because I just don't want anyone messing with the state directory for the current Daedalus version and just making their lives a little bit more complicated. So just wait for now, and then when we get explicit instructions, then you can go ahead and delete it.
Yeah, keep your eyes and ears peeled for those explicit instructions. Configuration management is starting to become a problem for Daedalus. I've got 4 versions running on my laptop right now. And there's a 5th one also available. So configuration management is starting to become a problem for the users, okay?
Yes.
So that needs to be looked at. Something else that needs to be looked at is, should Daedalus have an uninstaller, right? Because you know how crypto people are. There's private keys in there. And should it have an uninstaller to clean up the old versions and dig them out of your hard drive? These are all things that you can put in as feature requests, or if there is a feature request, you can find them on the IOHK website. So
correct.
Configuration management and uninstallers, but I think my primary concern right now is configuration management of all these different versions.
Yes, definitely.
And especially when we come up to the next hard fork, that's another subject we can touch on. I took some show notes on that too.
Okay. Do you want to jump into that?
Do you want to hit that, because we still have an Emurgo thing to hit on too?
Yes,
so I can finish off Daedalus and we'll be done with Daedalus.
Okay.
Keep an eye for videos coming out from Charles Morgan, because in the big scheme of things, this is how we're going to get from Byron to Shelley. In the big picture is, you have the Byron mainnet running, and you have the Cardano ITN where your rewards are located. So you have money on Byron and you have money on the ITN. In the big scheme of things, where we'll be several months from now is we'll be on the Shelley mainnet. And the way that works is, it will take the Byron Reboot mainnet, combine that with your ITN rewards, and that will become the Shelley mainnet. There's a really good video on Charles Hoskinson's channel. Check out that video for more details, okay? And then also follow up with the Charles Morgan videos. Now, this is very important to follow it closely. This is where this ties back to the scammers thing. The more complicated the process is, the more attack surface there is for scammers to come at you, okay? So make sure you follow the process closely. What will happen is there's going to be wallet migrations and wallet rotations occurring, okay? So for example, Daedalus 1.0.0 is out. What do you do next? Well, what do we do next? There's a lot of moving parts, so you got to be careful. Follow directions, read the directions thoroughly. What's going to happen with the next version of the wallet coming out for the Shelley mainnet is, you're going to import, you're going to open up your new Shelley wallet, enter your spending password from your old Byron wallet. This will create the new Bech32 address, because in the future, the Shelly mainnet will run entirely on Bech32 addresses, and there will be some reverse compatibility to the DDZ and the AE Yoroi addresses, okay? So you're going to enter your spending password, create the Bech32, generate a 15-word passphrase. Make sure you write down your new 15-word passphrase, and it's going to be built into the wallet. It will be easy to follow. There'll be like a little wizard. You follow the steps closely, read everything carefully, and the funds will be migrated from the old wallet to the new wallet, okay? There will be a step-by-step guide inside the user interface. If you did forget your spending password, there will be an option to restore your old Byron wallet. So you simply restore the old Byron wallet, you'll create a new Shelly wallet, and then you can send the funds over to the new Shelly Bech32 address wallet. And then there's questions about how do staking rewards get to the mainnet. There's going to be a snapshot of the ITN. Then there's going to be a balance check on the ITN. Then there will be the new Daedalus on the mainnet. Those ITN records will be moved to the mainnet so they can be pulled into wallets. You're going to enter your ITN Daedalus 15-word passphrase. You have two wallets. You have a new Shelly wallet, then you have an ITN rewards wallet that you reinstantiate into the Shelly mainnet by entering the 15 words for your ITN Daedalus and pull those in, okay? And there'll be a video from Charles Morgan coming out on that also. So pay close attention, because this is where new people are going to get in trouble. They're going to say how to migrate, how to rotate. It's going to be tough. We can do it. We're smart. We're motivated. Cardano community got this, okay? But pay close attention, follow the directions closely, and help the new people out, and never give out the private key.
Yes. There will be a large, I would recommend that no one jumps the gun. Wait for official videos, wait for official content before you start migrating everything, and before you start entering seed phrases. Just patience. You're not going to be left behind. As long as you're tuning into the Cardano effect every week, or you're checking the IOHK Twitter, you're not going to be left behind. So just patience.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a question from Black Star. I'm not sure how to answer this. He says, hey, Rick, I've recovered my Daedalus wallet on Yoroi, staked on Yoroi, then restored back on Daedalus. Will I get my rewards for Yoroi back to Daedalus once mainnet launches? I don't know the exact answer to that question. Ultimately, the answer is yes, but in a roundabout way, you will restore them in such a manner. You might have to restore two ITN wallets. You might have to restore both your Daedalus rewards wallet and if the address is different, right? I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know, man.
Yes. That's I guess we'll learn about that soon. Yeah, that is a good question. Good question.
Somehow it'll work.
Yes. We don't know yet, but we'll figure it out soon enough.
There's going to be a live stream with Tim Harrison and Aparna Jew next week, so ask them.
Yes. We'll leave it at that.
And they'll delegate it to the right person to get you an answer.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So did we wrap up Daedalus for now?
Yes, we did wrap up Daedalus.
I hope so. We got to wrap it up.
Yes, we wrapped up Daedalus. So the next order of business, and then we also need to talk towards the end about the audit, make some comments about the audit report that came out. But the next thing that we're going to be talking about is the Emurgo traceability. And we were supposed to, I wanted to cover this in previous weeks, but we've had a lot to cover. And basically what the Emurgo traceability, they teamed up with a coffee bean company, and they're building a blockchain solution for the supply chain network for that coffee-based company. And they're using the knowledge that they have from the Cardano project to build a customized blockchain solution for tracing coffee beans from manufacturer all the way to suppliers, all the way through the supply chain network. And I wanted to talk about this not because this directly affects the Cardano project, because it really doesn't, because it's not using any smart contracts from Cardano. It's not integrating with ADA. Once again, there's no smart contracts to be used at the moment, but it shows initiative that Emurgo can create these solutions for these companies now. So when Cardano is ready and they're implementing smart contracts, this will be a more turnkey solution for Emurgo to go to various different industries and implement similar protocols or similar solutions for these companies. So maybe in the future, another coffee bean farm can use the blockchain solutions that Emurgo has implemented for this one. And they partnered with a company called Blue Current JI Coffee, or it might be JL Coffee, JI or JL Coffee. And I found this very interesting because I was watching a documentary on Netflix, and it wasn't about coffee, but it was about chocolate and the manufacturing process of chocolate. And they were tracing it all the way back to the cacao bean in Africa, and just going to show how if you know something about how chocolate is manufactured and how it's grown and how it's ultimately sold, it is the craziest supply chain ever. It's riddled with crime, corruption. When we talk about modern day slavery, this is what it is. Like people from extremely impoverished areas in third world countries that don't necessarily have identity within the system are exploited and taken advantage of. You have child workers that are brutally treated in order to grow those coffee beans, cultivate them, and ultimately ship it, and it ends up in your grocery store. So, when you think about these things, I'm sure it's the same way with chocolate. I'm sure it's the same way with flowers. I'm sure it's the same way with coffee. All these products that are sourced from impoverished nations, there's a lot of corruption, a lot of bribery, and basically the supply chain is broken. The people that are doing the backbreaking work are paid next to nothing. These are the workers that we're talking about that live on less than $2 a day. And some of them are indentured servants, so they don't make any money. It's pretty much slavery. They are taken from their villages and they're forced to work in order to pay off debts from their village or from other family members. It's really corrupt. If you want to learn more about that, there's also a documentary that Vice released a few years ago about the exploitation of workers in building the skyscrapers in Dubai. I mean, people were literally getting kidnapped from like India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh to work on those massive towers like the Burj Khalifa and not being paid anything and just forced to stay there for a long period of time. So in the future, I think that implementing blockchain solutions for the poorest of the poor is going to allow more money to trickle into those people's wallets. Picture this. These people, we are talking about people that may not even have like a social security number or a national identification number. These people are off the grid. They're just born in very impoverished situations. No one really cares for them. They're not really considered people in this world, so they can be exploited. Think about if those people had access to a technology, if they had access to a phone, if they had access to a wallet, a digital wallet, and these companies, these either coffee companies or chocolate companies or flower companies, they tout these labels on their products like green, organic, sustainable, living income, but does it really pass down to the end user or the end cultivator? No, it doesn't. Think about if everyone on the supply chain had some sort of traceability or some QR code or some sort of identity within the blockchain ecosystem. Then those companies that are promising to provide a livable income, or if you go to Starbucks and you purchase a coffee and they're saying they pledge to put this amount of money into the actual grower's hand, it could actually reach that grower's hand. Like, for example, if you sell 100 Venti coffees at Starbucks, and the way the smart contract is written out, the people that actually pick the beans for that cup of coffee maybe get a penny for each 10 coffees that you sell of that brand of coffee that you sell at Starbucks. Then instead of it going to the farmer who will distribute it to the workers, it can go directly to the worker because it's just written in the smart contract and associated with the identity of that person who actually picked that bean or cultivated that flower or cultivated that particular crop. So if everyone had identity within the system, it allows less corruption to take place and allows less people to have their hands in your pockets before before the money reaches you. We're talking about people that make less than $2 a day. So it's like you put all those people on the blockchain and you just give them a QR code. And Rick and Philippe, they go to Starbucks and they purchase 2 coffees a day for the entire month. And, the company says, okay, I'm going to give 1 penny to the grower for each 10 coffees that you guys purchase. Then it automatically goes through some kind of cryptocurrency, some kind of smart contract to the person that actually grew that bean that ultimately you are drinking. So I thought that would be a very good use case. And I'm sorry for this rant. And I could have probably structured this a little bit better, but I'll pass it back over to you, Rick.
You speak with passion, sir. You speak with passion. Hey, you've convinced me, man. Before this podcast, I drink coffee all the time. I'm endless, right? I don't care where it comes from. I just I'm going to drink it anyway. I don't care who picked it. But Philippe brings up a good point is, how does that affect the original person, How does it affect the buyers? Like he has other examples where you buy a product for $5, but the producer of that product is only getting 20 cents for every $5 you spent. Everybody else in between is a middle person taking a cut and passing along. Yeah, that's why a lot of these manufacturers are in countries that are, what do you say, they're more vulnerable, I guess, or
definitely
producers. So it's a good thing to think about, to consider, something to think about and consider.
Yeah,
there are some questions in chat coming up, more blockchain related. But if it works for coffee is a good use case as an example. If it works for coffee, it can work for other products that are equally as important, or things that are of great value where you want to know that traceability is there. So Emurgo has that. There was another Emurgo program called Goblin. I brought up the blog on that. So check out Emurgo's blog. They have I'm going to just scan over it real quickly here. It's called Meet Goblin, a blockchain startup changing content distribution globally. Sounds similar to Brave Browser. But the Emurgo blog says Emurgo is proud to welcome Goblin, a newest batch member of the D-Lab Emurgo Startup Accelerator in 2020. In the first paragraph, I'll just summarize it real quick. In our internet domain era, users are facing increased internet privacy issues with web-based ads and clickbait ads. Goblin is changing the way consumers and producers of content interact with trustful efficiency, creating a win-win for both content consumers and creators. Goblin is a web-native way for internet users to consume quality content, whether it's news, downloads, or videos, and then rather than paying for the content, the user's device simply solve a valuable computational puzzle in exchange for the content. It's proof of work. It says the transaction is enabled by useful proof of work, a consensus algorithm first implemented in the Bitcoin blockchain, and the proof of work system is the bridge Goblin uses to reward both users and producers of content. So it has something to do with the proof of work algorithm, that if you want the content, instead of getting ads, then your computer does computations. It's interesting. I found it interesting. I just scanned over it. I'm curious to see more information come out on this. I don't know any more about it than what's in the blog post. So check out Emurgo's blog post. Read more on that and ask questions.
Yes.
Because, I thought we were getting away from proof of work.
Yeah.
How many terawatts did Bitcoin use? I think it's somewhere between 55 and 73 terawatt per hour, some crazy high number.
Yeah.
That's something we could probably talk about as a Bitcoin halvening. That wasn't on the agenda. I don't have that on my show notes. Do you?
No.
The Bitcoin halvening?
No. Yeah, we can talk about it. I
don't want to talk about price, man. Because all these YouTubers out there crying on Twitter about YouTube took down their videos, probably because they're doing price speculation. They blame it on the algorithm, but I'm seeing a common theme here. A lot of the videos getting taken down do price speculation. I ain't doing price speculation.
Yeah, no.
But I'll do power consumption speculation. There's no end in sight.
Yes, there's no end.
There's no end in sight. Bitcoin will continue to consume more energy forever and ever and ever.
It is, yeah.
As long as it's around, it's going to use more power.
Yeah.
They'll make ASICs more efficient. They'll use green energy, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's all talking points at this point of the day.
It is.
The narrative can be fixed.
Make me feel good about my investment that's making ASICs pile up in the landfill.
Yeah, it's out of control. Wind power, solar power, hydroelectric power. People are going to be powering Bitcoin now with their Peloton bikes. It's just ridiculous.
So now it's going to get cut in half. The block reward will be cut in half. and you're still consuming 55 terawatts per year. What's going to happen is the same things last time. Miners are going to start turning off ASICs.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to do price speculation, but if I'm giving you less money for the same amount of power consumption, what are you going to do? You have to do something.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. I mean,
oil's cheap right now, but that ain't going to help too much.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand how this is sustainable long period of time. I guess it's sustainable the more money that gets thrown into the network, and it just has to continuously rise in price in order for it to justify its power consumption.
I think eventually Bitcoin will collapse under its own weight.
Probably.
It's a great thing that it occurred. It was awesome, yay. But where does it end? How does it become more efficient? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll collapse under its own weight. Cardano's going for number one. No football coach ever said, you know what? We're going to be the number 3 team this year, guys. Are you ready? No. We're going for number 1. We're going for the Super Bowl, right? Now we're going to go for number 3 this year. Maybe the Cleveland Browns say that.
Well, some go for last place, Rick, so they can get first in the draft the following year.
That would be the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, I don't know, man. Bitcoin halving coming up.
Yeah,
if it may follow the trend. Most likely, it will follow the trend. The number go up, other number go down, other number go up, and somehow you get green candles, like in the out months, something like that.
Yeah.
That's been the trend, so it'll probably follow the trend.
Yeah.
But at some point, it may possibly collapse under its own weight. I don't see any other outcome.
Yeah. I guess it's not our problem, though.
Nope,
They're
not
gonna
my
have to
problem.
solve that. Yeah.
I was going to do a picture, a side-by-side, showing a Bitcoin mining farm, these giant warehouses full of ASICs, compared to my ITN node. My ITN node is this big, and it's using about 120 watts. It's doing the same effective work as an entire Bitcoin mining warehouse.
Wow.
Consuming hundreds of thousands of watts.
Wow.
Same security, pumping out blocks. That's all the ITN node operators are doing.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
It just makes sense.
Crazy.
It's hard to comparison. I can't think of a comparison in history where you say, we moved from one thing to another. Oh, I'll give you an example. Like airplanes used to be made out of wood, right?
Yes.
Also wood and lightweight woods.
Yes.
And you figured out, there's a better way to make airplanes. Aluminum.
Yes.
Yes.
They
had to switch a whole paradigm shift.
Yeah. They have to. First generation if it can't evolve to future generations, if it can't just completely change its business model, it's not going to survive. It just won't.
Yeah.
So, but
something has to be done. Or make a quantum computer running Bitcoin algorithms. That could do it. That would be neat.
Perhaps. I think, Bitcoin still has legs to run up because people are just not educated about what blockchain products are out there. But, if the world moves, if more people move towards Bitcoin, more people will start educating themselves about proof of work and what alternative solutions are out there. So, Bitcoin is going to be the gateway for a lot of these crypto projects still, because crypto is still very niche.
Mm-hmm. It is niche. I don't know what the percentage is now, but it's still a very small percent of the population. All right. Any questions in chat? And what else did we have to hit on? We
have to hit on the audit.
Oh yeah, the Route 9B.
Yes, the Route 9B audit.
Yeah, neat stuff.
Yeah,
right,
so
I'm gonna check chat for questions if you want to bring us up on the audit.
Okay, yeah. So there was an audit done by Route 9B, and it was I asked some questions to Charles Morgan in a private Slack chat, and he answered all of my questions. But basically, the audit was auditing the GitHub repos and a lot of the code that has been written for the Cardano ecosystem so far. there have been a couple FUD articles that have been posted that really missed the point of the audit. I had my qualms about the audit, but I think that they're going to do subsequent audits moving forward. So once the Haskell version or the Haskell mainnet, once we hit Haskell mainnet, I believe Route 9B will be contracted to do another audit, or some other firm will be contracted to do another audit. But I think that it was a positive thing. If the report is around 11 pages, you can go ahead and read it. I believe the Cardano Foundation has posted it on their Twitter. A couple of the ITN issues were not covered during the audit, so it didn't seem like they ran any nodes or they did any sort of node testing or load testing. So that was missing from the audit, which I thought would be in there, because there were a lot of issues with the ITN, and there are still some issues with the ITN. But once again, we're moving towards the Haskell testnet or the Haskell mainnet soon. So, perhaps another audit is going to have to be implemented so we can get some further clarification of what issues may lie within the code and what needs to be changed and what needs to be mitigated and what needs to be upgraded. What did you think about it, Rick?
Yeah, well, I thought it was good, but I'm not a coder and I'm not a security expert, but it was well written and I understood it. And it was a code audit where basically they look at the code, maybe they executed some of the code, but basically look at the code and find problems where they found stubs and stuff like that. And OHK made corrective measures, and the rebuttal, it's 3 documents. So what you read the original report, then you read the rebuttal, and then you read the acceptance of the rebuttal or not. And that kind of puts the whole picture together as to how the audit went. I'm glad there was an audit. I would rather have an audit than not have an audit.
Yes.
So a lot of things were found and either corrected or at least understood why that was in the code that was audited. But I was a little bit disappointed there wasn't a hot node test. I was thinking, aren't you going to hot node test? I looked up at Route 9B's website. Now, it might have been beyond the scope, and it would be much more expensive to do a hot node test where they bring the nodes up, Wireshark it, try to penetration test them, all that kind of stuff. But that didn't happen, so maybe in the future, I don't know. I think if people ask for it or bring it up and say, is this going to be tested, then maybe that kind of testing will occur. It just depends on how much money you have available to pay someone to do that, a third party, or if you use your own internal resources to do that kind of testing to validate the thing. But yeah, I mean, you can compare it to ITN. I know the ITN is the Rust code. What was audited was the Haskell code for the mainnet, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But there are things on the ITN that will also impact the mainnet. That's why they're doing the ITN, to figure out what do we need to do for the Haskell mainnet, especially the external stuff, the TCP/IP related stuff that doesn't matter if it's Haskell or Rust. It's still going to be TCP/IP related weaknesses like DDoS attacks and stuff like that. And exposing another security hazard is you're exposing the pool operator's pledge and stake, and if it can be reverse engineered to find who the pool operator is and their location. In some countries, that's dangerous, like in Russia. Or in parts of Africa, it's dangerous to be able to reverse engineer who a pool operator is and how much pledge they have, because there's bad people in the world. There always will be. And those bad people will find a way to, whether physically or electronically, attack that pool operator. That will happen. So right now, that's a risk pool operators are going to have to take. And hopefully the cybersecurity experts are looking at that and saying, okay, how can we mitigate this, or at least provide the pool operators the training required to help mitigate that security matter.
Yes.
There's a lot more than just code involved when it comes to cybersecurity. There's the whole TCP/IP side and physical security and financial security and all the other factors involved that people should be aware of.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yes.
It's like if pledge is really high, what if the pledge, let me throw an example number out there. Let's say the average pledge is $1 million, and you live in a country that is less than optimal, for example, right? And someone figures out, oh, I know who that node is, I know what their IP address is, and I know they got $1 million pledge on it,
Yeah.
You might have some problems coming your way.
Yeah, for sure.
You might be thinking about that.
For sure. Even in the U.S., I think you'd have some problems, and who knows, who knows.
Yeah.
So you just want to be safe, better safe than sorry. But yeah, I mean, I think the audit could have been more complete. I think it could have been a little bit more thorough. But there are going to be future audits that are done. Once again, you have to give it the benefit of the doubt because IOHK actually took the initiative to have some of their code audited, which is wonderful. But at the end of the day, a company hires a company to audit the company. You have to take that with a grain of salt. This is not like a third party that's coming in that's not funded by the company that's writing the code. And I don't want to play like conspiracy theorist here or anything like that. But IOHK sets the scope of work for the audit report. And, if everything wasn't included, then it wasn't included. Maybe it wouldn't be included in the next audit, but this audit, I don't think it did everything that it was supposed to do. But these things could be very expensive, tens of thousands of dollars probably to run this audit check on the code that they did. And maybe in the next audit, they will, they will do a little bit more.
Yeah. Would it make sense for the Cardano Foundation to set the scope?
Yeah, it would.
Don't you think that's how it would work?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did IOHK or the Cardano Foundation?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know who set the scope.
Okay.
But that might need some community feedback. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who set the scope. But the fact that it's done is good. That is awesome.
Yeah, it is good. And
there have been multiple code audits too.
Yes.
And that they did find things that could be improved. And they
Correct.
were improved upon.
Correct.
All right. I'm going to check chat. But it was great. I'm glad they're doing it. It's still far above and beyond what almost all other projects are doing.
Correct.
There are a few people comments about Bitcoin. Don't talk about Bitcoin. Talk about Cardano. Okay. All right. Sure. You can't. It's hard to talk about one crypto project and not compare it to the others. Like I compare Cardano to EOS. EOS is pretty. They're technology-wise, it's different, but as far as market and adoption, they have an advantage.
Yeah, Jose, there's a lot of things to be talked about, and they're all related to each other. And we can talk about other crypto projects. Fine. I mean, these are our competitors. These are things.
You can learn from them.
Exactly.
You learn from them.
Exactly.
Yep. The best way for the Patriots to teach the Cleveland Browns how to win is by beating them.
Exactly.
And that's why you talk about it. Okay.
Let's.
But there's good questions in here that we will touch on. Some people are arguing in the chat. Wonder Sound Radio asks, how will ADA be used in this traceability use case, just for the network fees or as money? I don't know. I think ADA would be would take care of a transaction fee, the cost of storing the traceability. So there's a fee if you want to store the traceability on a blockchain. You have to pay a fee to store that data. It would be some small number, like a fraction of an ADA, a couple of Lovelaces, and then you take those small fractions multiplied by thousands of pieces of data, and it adds up.
Yes.
It adds up. That's how it works on Ethereum.
Yes.
So the concept is probably the same. There's questions about Algorand. I don't know enough about Algorand to speak to it.
I don't either. I do not either.
But they're apparently a good project. That's all I can say. There's people who work with Cardano who are, I guess, friendly with Algorand, or at least not hostile.
Yes.
Golden said, he asked, do you think AI and quantum computing will lead to less power consumption? I guess that's in relation to proof of work. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know about AI, but I think quantum computing could help. Daedalus wrote a paper about kind of like the flip side of that problem, how to protect blockchains from quantum computers using the Bitcoin backbone. So you can check out the paper from Daedalus about that.
Okay.
Will non-ITN stake pools be able to participate in the Haskell code testnet? I don't know. The Haskell code testnet is going to start off with the friends and family, but I don't know how it's defined who's the friends and family. But there's no such thing as a non-ITN stake pool. All the stake pools are on ITN. Maybe I don't
Yes.
understand the question.
Yes. And by the way, Rick and I are working behind the scenes because I saw a couple questions in the chat regarding pledge and stake pool operators, and this relates to stake pool operators and delegators during the Haskell version of the testnet. But we are working on getting some appropriate people to answer all of those questions precisely, and we can give you a more exact rundown of what's going to be going on. Because we also want to know what numbers, what schematics that they're using. We don't know that for sure yet. Pledge amounts, K value, all that stuff is unknown to us at this moment, but we are working to get the appropriate people on the Cardano Effect podcast. So I'm assuming that we will get that episode up sooner than later. We haven't recorded the episode yet, but we have talks with who we need to speak with. So we'll definitely keep you updated.
Yep. Yeah, and we have some good criticism in the chat from Nyan Joshi, and that's fair enough. But Nyan Joshi calls the dumping as endless. I wouldn't call it dumping. I would call it pruning. Pruning. One is KEVM and two is Yella. Yes, KEVM and Yella have been retired in favor of Plutus and Marlowe and other ways of doing things, at least the way I've seen it described. But yeah, KEVM and Yella are out. Sarakel is out. The wallet they created did not have the characteristics IOHK was looking for, so they made their own. Sarakel was like a beta, it's like a test platform.
Yeah.
It's a necessary growing pain. It was unfortunate, but it was necessary, I guess. Maybe was one way of looking at it. But it's understood. Cardano 1.4.5 understood. Jeremy Wood, I don't get into that. That's personnel matters. But people move on. People come from somewhere and they move on to somewhere else. So if Jeremy Wood chose to move on or however that worked out, I don't know. I don't know. But it happens. People come from somewhere and they move to other places. The old address style, yes. Good riddance of the old address style. Good riddance. The BEC 32 is an improvement. Check out the Bitcoin Wikipedia about the new address style. It was adopted from the Bitcoin core devs as an improved method of generating addresses. And eventually, all the current Yoroi AE addresses and the current DDZ Daedalus addresses, those will all be gone. And in the future, on the Shelley mainnet, once we go to full Shelley mainnet, all new addresses will be BEC 32 on the new address scheme. That's how you make new things. That will be after the next hard fork. Okay, there's going to be a hard fork for that. And then aspiration of Cardano Deluxe, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, whatever. All right. Well, there's a good way of saying things and there's a poor way of saying things. You could probably word that a little better.
Yeah, so Naya Joshi, just to talk about your points. Yes, a lot of things have been changed. The roadmap has been changed. Rick and I have addressed it. Rick and I have addressed the concerns with the scope of work starting out so broad, but having to be pruned. And Cardano, the project, has made a lot of mistakes, as a lot of blockchain projects have made a lot of mistakes as well. This is a learning process. This is something that's new. This is something that there really is no guide to try to build. And maybe the scope of work was too grand at the beginning, and it led to a lot of things being broken along the way. But one thing that you have to give Cardano credit for is that they're picking up the slack and they're actually putting in some work. And there are a lot of developers that are coding. The GitHub repos are full, and there's perseverance. There's something to be said about just keeping your head down, and even if you don't score, you don't win the game, but just continuously practicing. And we definitely have not seen that the entire code development base has just gone somewhere else. We're on the 86th episode of the Cardano Effect podcast. We've had tremendous number of guests on this podcast. The company is still growing. There's 14 job applications on the IOHK platform. Are there many other projects out there that you can have 86 episodes of the Cardano Effect where you're talking about something different almost every single episode? So there's a lot of issues that, of course we've had a lot of issues, but there's something to be said about perseverance.
Yes, it is important. I'll give you an example. Corvette has been making mid-engine concept cars since about 1968, like 40 years, or 40 or something like that, some very long period of time. But they throw them away, right? They don't release them to the public. They make it and go, okay, whatever, and they throw it away. And finally in 2020, Corvette finally releases the first mid-engine Corvette. After like more than 40 years. It's been a very long time.
Yes.
People make concept versions of things. They test it and they look, oh, this isn't what we wanted. It was a lot of work, but we learned from it, and they got to throw it away and make another one. And then they okay. But now the current code base, you shouldn't have to throw it away. You can just keep building on top of it and make different layers and unplug one layer and plug in a different layer, right?
Yes.
You shouldn't have to wholesale scrap it like what had to happen with the original code base.
Yeah,
It happens.
definitely.
Companies do it.
Yes. It may not have been the move that you may have done personally. It may not have been the best possible move. It may have been a move that delayed the project even further. But at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do about that now. We just have to move forward, and Daedalus 1.0.0 just released, and we're going to be hitting Shelly mainnet soon. So things are turning around, and things are progressing forward for sure.
Yes. And there was also another question, Philippe, from Create the Imaginable. Thanks for these questions. What happened to the smart contract GUI called Marlowe? It's still there. It's being improved upon. It's called Meadow. So if you go on the website for that, I can't remember the URL, but Marlowe Meadow is the playground for that. You got Plutus Playground and Marlowe Meadow, and those are continually being improved. So there is continuous parallel work. Check it out over there. You can learn Marlowe, learn Plutus. I think there's over 3,000 people. My son checked on the Plutus. He's looking into Plutus, and there's like over 3,000 people are either enrolled or completed. There's one way or the other on the Plutus Udemy courses. So
Okay.
if you want to learn Plutus, check out the Udemy courses. And I think Hishoshi's going to be doing a follow-up video once it's more mature, ready.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, looks good. I think we got most of the questions in there.
Yeah, I think we did.
There was one about staking to different addresses. You can't currently do that. If you stake from an address, the rewards come back to that address. You can't point them to a different address. Not possible.
Okay.
Maybe that would be a good feature request. If you can find a good use case for it, you can submit a feature request. And if the engineers find that it is a useful feature, they rack and stack and prioritize because there's so much work to do.
Yes.
And if being able to stake from one address and receive the rewards in a different address, if it is important enough and it's high enough on the priority list, it might be gotten to. But they got to rack and stack.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff to do in crypto. There's so much work to do. There's not enough developers.
Yeah.
There's not enough developers.
That's true. That is
They
true.
Need more. Any
Yes.
developers out there, go check out the IOHK careers, Emurgo careers, Cardano Foundation careers. They're hiring. They're all hiring. In this era. All right. Let me see. Did we hit everything on the docket? Reddit
I think
top
we did.
10. We didn't do Reddit top 10. We don't have time for it. We are upon our hour. We hit our hour marker here.
Yes.
And the only reason we're just a little bit over an hour, we like to keep it short so that people who watch the live replay have enough time to be able to do so. And
Yes.
I think I got everything. We need to look up BEC32 addresses. I'll look that one up for the next one. What are they? Why is there a benefit to using it?
Yes.
There's a benefit to using those. I'm not sure what it is. I looked up a little bit on the wiki, but I don't understand it as well. So,
Correct.
A little bit of homework to do on that.
All right. We covered a lot today, so I want to thank everyone for the wonderful comments. I'm reading them right now. Thank you. We appreciate you, everyone joining us. It's Saturday. Well, it's midday now where we are at, but we hope that everyone has a wonderful weekend. This is the Quarantine and Crypto edition of the Cardano Effect podcast. You can tune in for our weekly live stream series. It's not every week, but we try to do a weekly live stream series. We have a couple of guests that are going to be coming on probably within the month of May. So look forward to those. Trust me, we are doing our research behind the scenes, and we are trying to get as many guys and girls on the podcast as possible. And we are listening to your comments, and trust me, Rick and I both run a stake pool. So we want to know everything about Pledge. We want to know everything about the K factor. We want to know everything about what the Haskell version involves, what the staking metrics for the Haskell version are going to be. So once we know that, we are going to communicate that to everyone here. And yeah, stay safe, everyone. And this was episode 86 of the Cardano Effect podcast. Remember to like, comment, and share. And until the next episode. All right. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy. Bye.